We're going to start talking about nth roots, and an nth root is a lot like a square root. You guys are definitely familiar with the idea of a square root. For example, if you see the square root of 64, you know that you're looking for the number that if you multiply it by itself 2 times, you get 64. So it should be no surprise to anybody listening that the square root of 64 we would say is 8, and that's because 8 times 8 does make 64. But what an nth root does is we put a little number in the crux of this radical symbol. Like maybe we'll put a 3 or a 4, it could be a 5, could be really any number. And what that does is tell us to find a number that multiplies by itself that many times to get 64. So if I saw a little 3 on a radical symbol with a 64, first of all, the way I would say that is I would say that I would say this is the third root of 64. And I'd be looking for a number that multiplies by itself 3 times to land on 64. The answer in this case is going to equal 4, and if you want to get a calculator out quickly and check that 4 times 4 times 4 equals 64, you can see that what I'm saying is true. I'm going to talk about vocabulary for a little bit. This little number that we stick in the crux of the radical symbol, we call the index. So this index is 3. This radical has an index of 4. This radical has an index of 3. The number underneath is called the radicand. And then, of course, this check mark symbol you guys know is called the radical symbol. A lot of times when we're doing this stuff, we're going to try to do some mental math and some guess and check. And just like in previous times, if we're multiplying to get an even number, we use an even number to get there. If the number we're trying to get to is odd, we use an odd number to get there. So here I have the fourth root of 625. That means I'm trying to find a number that multiplies by itself 4 times to give me 625. I wrote over here 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 is 625. You might want to get your calculator out and verify that if I multiply 4 5s together, it does in fact equal 625. So what I would say for this is that the fourth root, I would call that a fourth root of 625 is equal to 5. On this next example, we have a little 3 to get 64. I guess I did that up here already. But if I didn't know that ahead of time, I'd be looking for an even number that multiplies by itself 3 times to give me 64. So that would be, well, 4 times 4 would give me the 16. And then 16 times another 4 would equal 64. So since this is a total of 3 4s, then the third root of 64 is 4. In your notes, I wrote the wrong thing. I typed 64 to the 1/3 power. That was a mistake. So if you guys would be so kind as to cross that off and rewrite this as, we'd say this is the third root of 64 equals 4, that'd be great. So good luck with this stuff, and just think about what you're doing, and you'll be awesome at it, I think. Yeah, you will.